Okay, so in the previous clip, we looked at how moles and mass were related to each other via the RFM, and we use the equation moles equals mass divided by RFM. Now, a question may be reversed sometimes, whereby they give you the number of moles, and what they're actually asking you to do is calculate the mass that you would perhaps have to weigh out during an exam. Or during a practical. So what we have to do first of all before these types of questions is rearrange the equation to make the question that we're looking at the subject of the equation. And so because of the equation we have moles equals mass divided by the RFM, what I need to do is rearrange this equation and take the RFM term across to the other side. And so what we've done in this equation is we've divided by the RFM. And so in order to invert that mathematical procedure, we need to multiply by the RFM to take it across the other side. And so what that will then allow us to do is have the rearranged equation this time, whereby moles multiplied by the RFM this time equals the mass. And so what we've done is taken the first equation that we had in the previous clip and then rearrange that into an equation now, which allows us to have mass as the subject of the equation. So again, if we just do an example, again, we'll take calcium carbonate as the example again. And again, we'll just recap. We have 1 calcium that weighs 40 according to its mass number. We've got 1 carbon again, which is 12. Remember, we're looking at the mass numbers of the atoms on the periodic table. We've got 3 oxygens. Now oxygen is 16 each, and so 3 of those would weigh us to 48. That gives us a total RFM of 100. And so, like I say, if we say the question had said we were given 4 moles of calcium carbonate, what would the mass of that be? And obviously with mental arithmetic, you can see that if we have 4 moles of a substance and we multiply by the RFM, which we know is 100, using moles multiplied by RFM equal into mass, then in order to weigh out 4 moles of calcium carbonate, I would have to weigh out 400 grams of that substance. One thing just to be aware of in an exam or in any question that you may see is the standard unit for mass is obviously grams. Just be aware within a question whether or not it has given you a unit of kilograms. Obviously you'd have to convert back into grams. Whether or not you've got any random seemingly random units. I have seen over the years questions in tons, and in some type of biological contexts, milligrams, which are smaller than a gram. But again, just be aware of your prefixes to your units. But by standard definition, RFMs are in grams. But as I say, just be aware if a question gives you slightly different unit to normal. However, the methodology would still be the same. You still take the number of moles, you still multiply by the RFM. You might just have a little bit of conversion of the units to do along the way.